Hey, Mount Zion, it's Pastor Larry. I'm here with our good friend, Colin Bell. How you doing, Colin?
Good, Pastor. How are you?
Good to have you back. You come here every year. You've been a part of the Freedom Conference. We've been doing this thing since like 2014. It's amazing the journey that we've been in. But you've always given us an economic update, Colin. So we're going to keep in that same vein, and we're going to make sure that we make sure everyone understands how the economy's doing, what trends are going on, what things they need to do. So let's start off right here with the first question. How is the economy doing these days, Colin?
Well, it's really a mixed bag. And last year, what we saw with the market, and I think if you went out and bought anything, we had a lot of inflation last year.
Yeah.
So the price of food was up, the price of gas, the price of rent, housing prices, and so that had a negative effect on our economy last year. The stock market was down. But having said that, although inflation was high, we weren't really in a recession because people were not laying off people.
Right.
There's a lot of jobs out there still, even now. If you're willing to work, there's more than one job per person available to work. So we don't think we're in a recession because unemployment is not going up, but it was kind of a tough year last year.
Yeah, it was. So what would you say our global economy is like? Because I know that affects, of course, our local economies.
Yeah, so the global economy was even more difficult. There's the war going on in Ukraine with Ukraine and Russia, and that really spread to the slowdown of growth all over Europe. And then with China having a COVID outbreak, China just shuts down when COVID hits. So their economy really slowed down last year. So last year the global economy was pretty difficult.
Okay. So tell us about your views of the performance of the stock market. I would say last year, and then how you think it's going this year.
Yeah, so last year was a bad year for the stock market. Stock market was down about 20%. Now this year, what we've seen so far is we are positive. Things are coming back.
Okay.
But really, until we get inflation under control, the stock market will continue to be volatile. But that doesn't mean it's just going to keep going down. It's going to be up and down. But we think by the middle of the year, inflation will be lower and the stock market will level off.
Gotcha. What do you say to people that are maybe fearful about the whole stock market thing?
I would say this was a good lesson last year in if it's money that you need over the next 2 to 3 years, it should not be in the stock market. The stock market is for long-term growth.
Okay.
And the stock market always over a 10-year period is positive.
Okay.
So if you're investing in stocks, you have to stay with it. Money you need in the short term should not be in the stock market.
Gotcha. So what should people be investing in these days? What do you think are good investments these days?
I think right now this sounds a little bit boring, but having money in checking and savings, maybe CDs.
Okay.
For a long time when interest rates were low, CD rates were pretty close to nothing. You couldn't make anything on CD rates or your checking or savings. Now that interest rates are higher, there's some CD rates out there you can get 4.5% without taking any kind of investment risk.
Wow.
So that's not a bad place to be right now, just for some safety.
Okay, I like that. Also, is it important for people to be thinking about retirement? And if so, what should they be doing to make sure they're ready for retirement financially?
Well, that's a good point where a lot of us who worked over the years, we're going to get Social Security or maybe a pension, but that's probably not going to be enough for us to live on in retirement. And so my advice is if you're looking to retire down the road and you haven't started saving in some capacity, even if you start small and you can save on a monthly basis, every little bit will help. Whether you have a 401k you can contribute to or you're saving outside of that, just start as soon as possible. The younger you can start, even if it's a little bit, can really add up.
I like that. What would you say to those that are 50 and under?
50 and under, now is a great time to invest in stocks. With the stock market being down last year and the volatility we're having, if it's money that you don't think you're going to need until retirement, which is probably 15, 20, 25 years out, it's a great time to be buying into the stock market. So I would recommend that to people under 50.
What about people over 50?
Over 50, you have to be a little bit more careful because that's money you might need more in the short term. And I would say that's where it comes in, having a plan, maybe talking to a professional. How much money should you be investing in stocks? How much should you have in cash and CDs and safer things? It's a different mix for everyone, but definitely once you're over 50, you want to be a little bit more careful.
Gotcha. So, how can having a financial advisor like yourself, how can that help people accomplish their financial goals, you would say?
Well, I think everyone's case is different. When I want to retire might be different from when someone else wants to retire. And so sitting down with a financial professional like myself or someone else, we can really tailor a plan and guidance for your specific situation. And a lot of that comes into when are you going to need the money that you're saving, how much will you need, and if you have a goal to retire at a certain point, is that something you're going to be able to accomplish, or do you need to make some changes now to make sure that you can achieve your goals? So sitting down with a financial professional is critical to put together a specific plan for yourself.
Gotcha. Well, Colin, I really appreciate you and what you do. Colin is from Thrivent Financial. I don't know if I mentioned that in the beginning, but everyone knows Colin Bell. He is very gracious, always come to our church, give us an economic update. And he also makes himself available to us if we need a financial advisor or financial coach. So Colin, please let the people know how they can reach you and get a hold of Thrivent Financial.
Sure, you could go to our website, thrivent.com, or you can email me directly. My email is colin.bell@thrivent.com. I'm sure there's going to be some information on at the Freedom Conference with my information on that. So feel free to reach out to me anytime, or go to our website, thrivent.com, and there's some really good information on there, as well as my contact information.
Well, Colin, I really appreciate you. Thank you for the economic update. We believe that if we do the right things, make the right choices, then we can always get through all the mountains and all the valleys of life, but also make sure that we are financially fit and that we are blessed in the future. And that's what it's really all about when it comes to investments and everything else. Is about preparing for a great future.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Colin.
Okay, Pastor.